Hey there, hi there, ho there, my Sagittarian collective Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus sign. Welcome to your work, career, and vocation read for April and May 2021. I am your reader, Mark Angelo, Lyons, Mal for short, professional witch, professional intuitive, president of Drawing the Circle Productions, the Archangel of Lyons, Mark Angelo Lyons. But you can call me Mal. Hey! It's good to be recording because if you're seeing this, that means the technical problems have been worked out. I have been able to record, but seriously, I spent all day long yesterday with the Scorpio video recorded, but couldn't edit, couldn't upload. So I was like, okay, so my tech guy's coming later today. I was like, until he gets here, I'm gonna do Sagittarius, because I was fit to be tied anyway. After hours of struggling and trying to figure it out for myself, oh no. No, I do not know these things. I am not tech person, I am witch. So let's get down to business, and then we'll get down to business. Just to say, I've been having some meetings with my Kindle editor, Dylan Martinson, and he is taking over my Constant Contact, which is an email thing. So he's going to be sending stuff out, and if you are interested in being on our Constant Contact email dealio, Dylan's going to be sending some things out relatively soon. Get in contact with us. Just go to the website, DrawingTheCircle.com, or find me on social media, and we will make sure you are added to the list. Words of Grace, the book is doing pretty well on Kindle. I would love, who wouldn't want to see more? It is really good, I'm going to say. Words of Grace from a Professional Witch. It's lovely. $9.99 USD, darling. Go check it out. You can preview it, as well as I learned to do this. You do not need Kindle to get a book. On Kindle, you just need the app. Who knew? I didn't. There we go. That being said, the work on Facebook continues as well. The Drawing the Circle Productions Facebook page. I did take a little breaky poo from doing some of the paid and free Zoom stuff on Facebook. The Drawing the Circle Productions Facebook page. But we're going to be scheduling some stuff too. We've got a medium we're working with now, so it's not going to be just me. It's going to be some of the people who are drawing the circle together with me. Cool. Other than that, let's talk about you, shall we? My Jupiter-driven Sagittariuses. We are doing a 9-card spread. 3 decks, 3 cards, work, career, vocation, your life purpose seen through the lenses of 3 levels of power. I learned about the 3 levels of power, the literal, the personal, and the symbolic, from Carolyn Myss, M-Y-S-S, Hay House author, brilliant medical, intuitive, and spiritual teacher. I think she's one of the best on planet Earth, actually. This is one of her many decks, the Caroline Myss Archetype deck. We're going to be using this to see what is the soul power, or if you like, the 8th chakra in your work, your career, and in your vocation. Then we're going to take 3 daughters of the moon to look at your own personal experience of that heart, throat, third eye crown in your work, career, and vocation. And then we'll take 3 mythic tarot to get you the external part of it, either how things appear, you appear from the outside looking in, or some external part of this, a clue, a tip, a hint, in your work, career, vocation. So a very holographic read. You can kind of jump in at any point. All I can ask from anybody watching any of these videos, any of these readings in particular, I want to say standard YouTube reading rules apply. Take what resonates, leave what doesn't. Check your other signs, because certainly your sun sign in terms of work is going to get something different than your moon in terms of your career. So you might want to check that out. They should all be holographic and chakra-based and blah, blah, blah. Other than that, all the decks that I read are always in the bottom of the description box, both feet on the floor. If you can, focus on your breath, if you will. I will do the same to get you the clarity, the guidance, and the grace that I get working with my pantheons of the divine. I've been doing this for clients. I've been in business. May 1st, I will be in 1998. I think that's 23 years. Drawing the Circle Productions has been working. We used to go to Kinko's, make flyers, fold them, staple them, label them, stamp them, and send them out in bulk mail. Oh my good God almighty, right? A long time ago. So yeah, right? Take it from somebody who is at least showing that the wisdom works for them. So let's do this. Get yourself grounded, centered, and let's take a nice deep breath. Oh, yeah. you. Clink. There you are. Here we go. My collective pantheons using the Carolyn Myss archetype deck. I need 3 cards in clarity for the Sagittarian collective. Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus. I'm watching this video, receiving this reading. Please, the archetypes. What are the soul powers being developed in their work, in their career, and in their vocation? April and May 2021. We'll start with work, please. 3 cards face down. Their work, their physical power, their literal level of power, their work in their world, survival intuition, maybe how they pay the bills, maybe not, but definitely how they're surviving. Their career, personal level of power, heart, throat, third eye, crown, creative intuition, emotional power, willpower, mental power, and that touch of spiritual power in the crown chakra, please. What is their career? What's going on there? Their hunger, their thirst, their passion, that thing that lights them up, that soul level, trying to incarnate something there. And their vocation, their spiritual calling, their 8th chakra. Right, the star that summons them forward, right, to complete what they came here to do, the thing that's lighting them up in their vocation. Please, April, May 2021, let's see who you got. Keep in mind these cards can be triggering. Yes, you've got, and every archetype is neutral. Doesn't matter the word or how it sounds. Every archetype has light and shadow, but it is a percentage scale. Where are you from lead to gold, shadow to light? Well, you've got the Liberator archetype in your work. That is an action family archetype. That's fascinating, and I'll tell you why when we get there. Well, by the way, it's very Sagittarian, right? Freedom, liberation, right? Let's burst through the Saturnian boundaries, right? With Jupiter energy. In your career, love this one if you're doing it right. The dilettante. Now, it's usually considered a derogatory term, the dilettante, but nonetheless, it can be very, very, very powerful in its light, as any archetype can be, and incredibly toxic in its dark. This is the one that's going to trigger you. Oh, dear God, the wild card of the beggar archetype, right? Nobody wants to think of themselves as a beggar, but I have to say, if you're going to get it in the vocation. It's about getting right with the divine, because look, we're all driven to our knees sooner or later on the spiritual path. To see it from the 8th chakra, so helpful. That's not seeing it from the penthouse, that's the crown chakra. 8th chakra is seeing it from the satellite. It's like GPS, right? It's like fucking Google Maps. 8th chakra version. Okay. So I'm going to read what's on these cards and see, like, if the shadow really triggers you. Don't pay attention so much to the words, but how the words feel in your energy field. That's why both feet on the floor and focus on your breath, in fact. The shadow attribute of the Liberator archetype action family, imposing your own tyranny over those you claim to liberate. Been there, done that, have the scorched t-shirt. Ignoring legitimate constraints. And I have a very good example of this. If you know someone's in recovery and they're at a party, let's say alcoholism, I'll pick a recovery, right? But let's just say Alcoholics Anonymous, they're doing their best, you know, one day at a time. And it's a birthday party, and you're like, come on, yes, I'll have a drink. That's what I'm talking about. Loosen up. No, right? That's ignoring legitimate constraints, particularly if those are your own, right? If you're like, oh, fuck it, it's a party, right? Don't. The light attribute, freeing yourself and others from outmoded beliefs, releasing negative thought patterns. And I have to tell you, as beautiful as that is, someone can be really assholey about that too. It's called the spiritual ego. The ego learns and adapts a spiritual knowledge in ways that are actually rather toxic. It's like, it's so negative. It's so negative. I think Marianne Williamson said, yeah, I understand that, you know, you want to think positively, but saying the house is on fire when the house is actually on fire is not negativity, right? So there's a fine line there on that one. Dealt with that plenty in the New Age, spiritual, metaphysical, Wiccan, pagan, blah, blah, blah community. I love this for you, though, the dilettante. Now, again, dilettante, you say, oh, dilettante. Well, that's the shadow here. pretension to much deeper knowledge than you actually possess, and I never go for that. I have the grace of humility, the first grace that I talk about in my book, Words of Grace, the maiden grace, a gateway grace to other graces. It's like, I know that I don't know, right? I think that's why people like me, because if people are like, well, what do you think about the Kabbalistic process of I'm like, oh, I haven't read it, don't know, right? So I kind of don't have the dilettante, because I'm kind of all in, and here's the light attribute, which I love about the dilettante, particularly heart, throat, third eye, crown, particularly in terms of career and creative intuition. The light attribute delights in the arts without having to be a professional. And this is a creative family archetype that I'm sure of has to be creative family archetype. That's like having a hobby, right? That's like saying, I am just going to have fun with this, and whether it makes money or not, who cares? Right? I'm just going to delight. I feel that way about cooking, the culinary arts. I'm not a chef. I have Blue Apron. They're very high in fiber, Blue Aprons. I'm just going to say, you know what I'm talking about, right? So last night, really delicious last night. It was like chicken, there were prunes and tomatoes. It was really, really delicious, right? And I felt really proud about myself, but it's not like I'm going to look down my nose at somebody about it, right? So much fun for me, because I live alone too, and eat whatever the fuck I want, alerts you to the danger of becoming superficial in your pursuits as well, right? So that even says that if there is something here that in terms of your career, something perhaps you want to monetize, have a product connected to, then really look at that. Catch yourself when somebody gives you a piece of information and you're like, oh yes, I already knew that, when you didn't. Because that's showing you, it's like, what are you really afraid of? Are you afraid of being humiliated, right? It's the first controlling fear, says Carolyn Myss in her book, Entering the Castle, brilliant work. The first controlling fear is humiliation. If you're afraid of humiliation, then people have power over you. And she says, I hope you get humiliated sometime soon so that you realize you lived through it. And it's true. It is true. And that's why the grace of humility is the shield against humiliation. Because if you know that you don't know, if you're saying, yeah, I have no idea, but I'm really enjoying this, it's lighting me up, right? Then that's going to bring you some kind of liberation here in your work, perhaps. Because it is an action family archetype, and this is a creative family archetype, there's a nice alignment possible here. But this is now where it's a bit of a tide turner. In your 8th chakra, you have got the beggar archetype. And I know, trigger, right? The shadow attribute, dependence on others to the exclusion of effort. Now I'm going to tell you, I don't know any Sagittarians like that, right? The Sagittarians I know tend to be very driven people. Granted, all sun signs, like people don't always know their moons and all of that stuff. But certainly I've worked with Sagittarians throughout my career, worked with all the signs throughout my career. My first metaphysical job was in Porter Square, Massachusetts, 1987. Across the street from Arsenic and Old Lace. If you know Arsenic and Old Lace, I worked across the street in a crystal store called Laura, right? I was young. Couldn't even drink yet. I wasn't legally, at least. So, this can be tricky. So, hardworking, right? I get that. But this might be something that really, in terms of your spirituality, right? Because we're really talking about spiritual power in terms of the 8th chakra. Catch the light attribute. I think this is where you are and may not realize this is being developed in terms of your relationship to the divine. Confronts empowerment at the level of physical survival. That's no joke. Awakens the spiritual authority of humility, compassion, and self-esteem. Let's just take those as keywords here. Because humility to the divine is to say, I don't know what you are. Apparently we're all one. Learned all these things spiritually. I am a Sagittarius, so I'm probably into this stuff if I'm watching readings on YouTube. So you show me, I know that I don't know. And I'm going to be as compassionate as I can with everyone I know, because I know that I don't know. And what is more toxic than somebody who thinks they know when they don't? Yeah. So we're going to use that as our keywords: humility, compassion, and self-esteem. And remember, self-esteem is a verb, not a noun. We use it as a noun, as though it is something you possess or you don't possess. Oh, you possess it. It's a skill. And intuition and self-esteem are Two sides of the same coin, just saying. Let's keep going. This is a hot read. It may seem liberator. It doesn't sound too exciting. Dilettante. That sounds like dabbler, which is another real word for dilettante. But that beggar one, I think that might be the leverage in these readings. I always find in these work, career, vocation readings, one of them is where your leverage is, right? The iron is hot, strike. Daughters of the moon, what's going on inside of you, yin side of you, your own feminine energy. Please take a nice deep breath. My goddesses of fire and the sign of Sagittarius, please. 3 cards in clarity for the Sagittarian collective. Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus sign watching this video, receiving this reading. With the Liberator in their work, lower 3 chakras, right? What is their heart, throat, third eye, crown chakra experience of this Liberator archetype in their work? Same thing with the dilettante in their heart, throat, third eye, crown. So this should be particularly poignant, right? That dilettante, that, yes, the pretension to deeper knowledge than they have, that's certainly third eye. But the delight, right? Delights in the arts, that's heart. So please, what's going on there for them? Heart, third eye, crown in their career and in their vocation, 8th chakra, the beggar. And I'm hearing you, there have been beggars on this planet since day one, right? It is an ancient archetype. There have always been beggars on this planet, and certainly the literal beggar is just one form, right? How people beg for attention, how people, to beg to the divine, however, is rather ancient. To really be on one's knees, right? To be driven there. Carol, what did she say? Marianne Williamson, I can be driven to my knees or go down voluntarily every day. Something like that in terms of prayer. So please, 8th chakra vocation, what is their interior experience of that? Let's see who... well, 2 major arcana cards and a water card. With the Liberator, you've got the moon. So there is a mystery afoot here, and you really have to get in touch with your survival intuition. I know the key word for the moon is confusion, and yes, things are occluded. You may not have any idea. I think this is why. Really, the liberating that's going on here is probably a mental thing that you're going through in your own life or dealing with others similarly. That is about freeing yourself from outmoded beliefs, releasing negative thought patterns, like, because I don't know, and there's something wrong because I don't know. No, sometimes you're just not supposed to know. Grant me the grace of humility. I'm really feeling like your leverage here is in that. Now, I will say, I love this card. It's Yemaya. There's such a power in knowing that the path is always under your feet. Always. You can't be off your spiritual path. You're a spirit. Your soul that was chosen to play this role in this body in this lifetime. Done. Right? So you can't be off your spiritual path. The path is always there. But navigating it in the physical world takes strong self-esteem, to trust the intuition that you're getting. And sometimes when you're standing at a large body of water at a full moon, the path is revealed, and it's always under your feet, no matter where you walk along the beach. And I don't actually need to walk out on the ocean, but you know what I'm saying. It's metaphor. I forgot what I meant for. So there is something liberating here, and this liberation might be, you know what? It's a fucking mystery right now. It's cloudy, and so what? It's okay. I am free from needing to know when what I want to know and what I need to know are the same thing, then I'll know. But right now, my gut says, we'll look at that in the last 3 cards down here, but heart, throat, third eye, crown. You might be going through an emotional thing here as well. And if you are an empath, please keep in mind, we are echo chambers right now, the divine feminines, the empaths. And could you get more of a divine feminine energy than Yemaya, the moon? Your career, the dilettante, which this feels so playful and so fun. You've got the 8 of Cups. Not that you're walking away from something, but withdrawal in terms of withdrawing into yourself. So what is this saying? This is saying you may not be able to navigate so clearly your physical world right now. Like I said, those last 3 cards down will give us an extra piece. But I could see you going inside yourself, this This woman takes a boat with a torch. How you row a boat holding a torch, I don't know. To this island, following a trail of cups, some upright, some spilled, into a cavern, which does represent going inside to what? Find your ninth cup, your own wish fulfillment, your own emotional flow, if you will, within yourself. So there is a retreat, I feel like, into your own interior creative world here, but it doesn't have to be product driven. But there is a delight here. I mean, I guess I do that with certain things, like particularly Terry Pratchett novels, because I don't have time to sit and read a book right now in my life. Believe me, I have. I read Myss of Avalon cover to cover 1 year in college over the summer. But audiobooks, right? There's so many good audiobooks, Terry Pratchett Discworld novels, and I love them. And I can't write at his level. God rest his soul, goddess rest his soul. But lights me up every single time. So, you know, am I a literary critic? No, I am just witch. But I find great inspiration there. And that might be what this is, sort of recharging your battery, right? And also getting that, keep an eye on really pretending, with that feeling of Eight of Cups withdrawal, maybe walking away from people, taking some space for yourself is there for sure, so you can get that internal creative intuition going. By the way, you access creative intuition every single day. Like, what do I want for dinner tonight? Heart, throat, eye, crown, back, forth, until you really swallow it, make the decision, and either cook or DoorDash or whatever you're doing. So a withdrawal to go inside to really play with that creativity, with that dilettante archetype, because then here in your 8th chakra is everything you need. You got the card of justice, Ma'at. Divine law, coming into alignment, right? The beggar, going into the crown chakra and receiving what in the heart, throat, third eye, and crown? Justice, balance, equanimity, alignment. Beautiful. Grace. Grace. That your heart, when weighed against a feather, is equal to or lighter than. Read about Ma'at. M-A. Well, I forget what that's called. I guess it's an apostrophe. Sometimes you see it, sometimes you don't. M-A-A-T. Egyptian goddess, necessarily of the underworld, I guess. She weighs the human heart upon death. And if it is lighter than the feather, you get to move on. If it is heavier than the feather, well, some say your soul gets eaten by a demon. Others say you just have to reincarnate. I don't know. After this lifetime, I think I'll take eaten by the demon. Cancel. Kidding. I think I'm good. I already have my reservations. That's where I came from. How could I not? Oh, the Celestials. Yeah, this feels really amazing, and it does feel like if there has been anything, and I don't know why they're giving me this could be for like 2% of y'all, but that if there is some legal schmeagle going on, if there is some kind of weird legal boundary going on that has made this harder, they're giving me the word, what is that word? Impalatable? Unpalatable, just like bleh, bad taste in your mouth, wanting to free yourself from that. I get it. This is where your leverage seems to be, but let's get our last 3 cards down. Let's do this. I love the Mythic Tarot because I love Greek myth. Breathe. Oh, yes, indeed you do. Please, my gods of fire, and the sign of Sagittarius, 3 cards in clarity for the Sagittarian collective, Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus sign. Watching this video, receiving this reading in their work, career, vocation, please. What's going on in the physical world? Connecting to their root, sacrum, and solar plexus chakras in their work, career, vocation, either from the outside looking in, how they appear, and or maybe it's both, some aspect of the physical work, career, and vocation here, so they can really target in on the guidance and grace indicated, please. April and May 2021, please. They've got the Liberator with the moon in their work. There's the outer. They've got the dilettante with 8 of Cups withdrawal in their heart, throat, third eye, crown, career. And the beggar with Ma'at, the card of justice, where they have 2 major arcana cards, the moon and Ma'at. I get it. So please, what does that look like in the outer for them, April, May? Let's look. 1, 2, 3. 2 more major arcana cards. Lovely. I'm going to tell you right now. When you have the moon on the inner with the dilettante. And the Page of Cups on the outer, this is talking about inner emotional reflection. I know people want to say, oh, Page of Cups, an offer of love is coming in. Not with withdrawal in your career, right? Not with this next to it. This is Narcissus. Do some mirror work, some self-love work. Small, tiny little things. Tiny little things. I do feel like this is you from the outside looking in. To take some time to reflection, to pull back. You might be very emotional right now about things going on in the physical world. And again, if you are an empath, you're going to have to do some self-care. And actually, in a way, liberate yourself as a result of that. You have the power to allow these emotions to run through you in a way that are a blessing, although they may not always be comfortable. Case-by-case basis. How do I know this? Because with the dilettante, with this Eight of Cups, and like I said, going inward, right? Not necessarily walking away from, but walking inward and to something within you, because you got the High Priestess, Persephone, Our Lady of the Underworld. Underground? I watched The Magicians. Yes, I did. Of course I did. Of course I did. How dare you? Of course I did. So there is a deeper intuitive thing here. I'm telling you, this beggar thing with the self-esteem, we'll get there in a hot second. Carol and Myss, just look it up. Intuition, self-esteem, your ultimate natural resource, or something like that. She did this back in, I think, the 90s or the early 2000s. Brilliant. If you can find it on YouTube, if you can find it on audio, because she's really saying when you get an intuitive hit that comes just to you, but you have to check it with everybody else in your fucking life. See what I'm saying? It's like, no, this came to me. This is my intuition. It doesn't matter what you say. What if you're getting a download of your life purpose, right? So you can be, you don't need to tell people shit. What's going on inside of you. You keep that to yourself. And again, here's the imagery. Clairvoyance for fun and profit. You right? You with me? This flaming arrow burning your knuckles. Ready, like, I'm ready to let this loose into the world, but not yet. Not yet, not yet, not yet. You're still in a place of internal reflection, and that is really genius, I have to say. Because don't worry, it won't last long. Not waiting for it. Because yeah, you got this beggar with on the inner with Justice Ma. You got the Chariot, Aries. There is such a creative force inside of you. Such a Martian power. I don't mean John Jones. I mean I mean like that Mars energy, right? Even though we usually so often said the moon, here is the god Aries. Now I will say it is the moon, one of the moon cards, right, in the major arcana, and here's the moon. So there is a symbolic alignment between your 8th chakra and your lower 3, right? In terms of your vocation lining up with your work, certainly the inspiration has come. You're just coming into balance. This is going to totally move you forward, and it might be very exciting, but don't worry if you're not an expert. Play along, be creative, but keep it to yourself and reflect inside. Liberate yourself from outmoded ideas and beliefs that are constraining you, because even if everybody else around you never breaks those chains, you break them for you. You give yourself the love, the support, the clarity, the truth, the time, the space, the rest, the breath that you need to liberate yourself from just, what are they called? Limiting beliefs, fears, things that are not true but that may have appeared to at one time in your life. Because I feel like in terms of your creativity, whether or not you actually monetize this in any way, whatever it is that Spirit wants to do through you wants to be done. And do not think of yourself as such the amateur. You are being trained. You are being guided. You're just being balanced out first, regardless what anybody else around you thinks or does, even though you may be feeling their discomfort at your process of evolution, growth, and expansion, where they can't control you anymore. That's what I see for you. Please take a nice deep breath. My pantheons of the divine, may the Sagittarian collective Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus sign be blessed with all that they need in their work, career, vocation, April and May 2021, that they may heal, that they may grow, that they may go to the divine using the leverage of that beggar archetype, saying, humility, I know that I don't know, but I'm willing to have compassion to myself and to others who may not see things the way I see things or do things the way I'm about to do things here. But If you created me, may they see themselves as the perfect creations as they are, where they are in process, so that they can come into balance and move their own calling forward into this world very rapidly, as that soul power of the dilettante delights within them, going within and keeping it a secret while they reflect and liberate themselves, tuning into their own intuition, understanding that the best form of intuitive development for them is moment by moment by moment. That's my gut, let me take a step. That's my gut. They may not like it, but it's still my gut. Let me take a step. For their well-being, ultimately for the well-being of everyone around them, and ultimately for the well-being of all. May they be so blessed in their work, career, vocation, and may this world be blessed as a result of it. So motivate. And so it is. These work, career, vocation reads this round have been a little off the wall. But it's better than being boring, huh? So that's what I see for you. Did you like it? Like it. Want more? Subscribe. Feel like commenting? Oh, please do. You want to share it with a Saggy friend? Oh, have at it. And by all means, check out my book, Words of Grace. I think you'll like it. At least go preview. The reviews are right in the beginning, so you can read what other people thought about it first. Otherwise, wishing you the very, very best and the very, very blessed in your work, career, vocation, April and May 2021, my beloved Sagittarius asses. Hail. Farewell, and blessed, blessed be.